What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the review of the Skully Fenix AR motorcycle helmet. So guys, I'm Chaseontwowheels. I review motorcycles and motorcycle gear and all the other types of stuff that I am interested in here on the channel. And if you are not familiar with what the Skully Fenix AR is, it is a tech motorcycle helmet with a heads-up display over by your right eye, and it has a rear view camera that actually shows you what's going on behind you with that camera. All inside of your helmet. It's got built-in audio and all kinds of goodness. That's the really small version. You can go watch other videos if you have no clue what the Skully is, or you just watch the rest of this review, because that's how that works. Awesome. So if you guys have never heard of the Skully company, I highly recommend you going and looking into it. The Skully company that's current and the old Skully company that screwed people out of money. There's been a long road to get this helmet to be an actual product on the market, not just some Kickstarter campaign where you put your money in and you hope your money brings you a product. It's an actual product. You can actually order it now and you can actually get it, and that's why we're reviewing it today. So guys, motorcycle helmets are complicated, as well as tech is also complicated. So we have a motorcycle tech helmet. There's a lot of stuff to talk about in this video. All of these things, actually. So what I'm gonna do is make a table of content. Lord, it took me forever to say that. As the top pinned comments, so you guys wanna see a certain thing that I talk about, you can click down there, there'll be timestamps, you can jump straight to it. But by all means, watch the entire video. Okay, before we get started, I'm done with this being cold crap. I'm gonna get a jacket because I ain't dealing with it no more. You guys that have garages are gonna understand what I'm talking about when I tell you this little space heater, don't do it. It is 22 degrees outside and I'm in Atlanta. That makes no sense. Okay, now that I'm not freezing, we can continue this video. Alright guys, so let's start this review in talking about weight. Now, the weight of the helmet is something I was actually really surprised about. When I came into this with the review, I was like, alright, obviously this helmet is going to be heavier than any other helmet that I have, right? It's got all the extra tech, but I was surprised. So I compared the Fenix AR with two helmets I wear a ton. The Icon variant, which is a good contender for like a heavier helmet, and my Shoei X14, which is here to represent lighter helmets. The Icon variant weighs 3.79 pounds. The Shoei X14 weighs 3.62 pounds, and the Skully comes in barely above both of these at 3.8 pounds, almost matching the variant. So the Skully comes in at basically the same weight as the Icon variant. I'm not over here trying to split hairs at like 0.79 and 0.8. The thing weighs the same. Also, when you're out riding, the weight of the Shoei X14, even though it's a little bit lighter, is negligible to the weight of the Skully because you got all the wind and stuff like that. Alright guys, so let's talk about safety for a second. It is a motorcycle helmet. It is there to keep you safe. So the Skully is got a carbon fiber shell and it currently has DOT certification. Skully told me that they are currently underway with their ECE certification, but as of making this video, they don't have that locked in yet. Now, a major downfall with this helmet is I looked on their website, I went through the process of looking like I was gonna buy one, and I found out that this helmet is not going to come with DOT and ECE certification. You actually have to choose whether you want DOT or ECE certification. I'm not really happy with that. I wish they could have both of those. I do realize that's probably a hard thing to do with all the tech in the helmet, but yeah. Another positive though on the safety front is the helmet is equipped with EQRS or emergency quick release straps. What those are little straps underneath the cheek pad that let a paramedic get your helmet off without like cricking your neck and all that kind of stuff. So that's good. Really wish it could be ECE and DOT approved though. So a lot of you guys know a long time ago I reviewed basically the prototype version of the Skully helmet. And compared to that helmet, there is one thing with this new helmet that is massively changed, and that is the fit and finish, or what I like to call the usability of the helmet. So the inside of this helmet feels on par with the best helmet internals I've ever felt, which is the Shoei X14, ironically. All the materials are super soft and feel great. The feature of this helmet that I am currently obsessed with is this quick release at the bottom of the helmet. It replaces what typically helmets use as that D-ring setup where you put the loop through and all this kind of stuff. This quick release is click it on, pull a strap, and it comes right off. I know it's not a big deal, but if you wear a helmet with that feature and then you go back to regular helmets, you feel like this old man like pedaling a car or something. You're like, why is this taking so long to take off my head? Then you put the Skully on it, it's like... Another note on the usability front is the visor. So 2 button presses on the side of the helmet, the visor can pop off so you can change visors very quickly. Also, the visors that they are offering come pin lock ready. So if you guys like the anti-fog little thing, you're good to go. So my Skully's visor currently has the protect tint pin lock thing on it. What that does basically is when sunlight hits it, it turns dark. But then if there's no sunlight hitting it, it goes clear again. So that way I don't have to be changing visors out if I'm gonna be riding between dark and light times. I've been pretty happy with it, even though I typically like a mirrored setup on my helmets. Alright, so let's move over to comfort for a second. So as of making this video, Skully only offers the helmet in an intermediate oval head shape. What that means is if you don't have an intermediate oval head shape, the helmet's not gonna fit you perfectly. Don't worry though, I don't have an intermediate oval head shape either. I actually have a round oval head, and the only times I ever noticed a comfort issue is after riding for between 3 and 4 hours straight without taking the helmet off, I would notice 2 little hot spots pop up. If you don't know what a hot spot is, it's basically where a helmet is causing pressure on your head. But like I said, that only happened after probably 3 to 4 hours of like constant riding, so it wasn't really that bad. One thing that I absolutely love about this helmet is the ease of being able to put the helmet on and taking it off. Now typically when I'm putting helmets on, I have to do this weird like tucking and untucking of my ears, or else when I put the helmet on, my ears get bent back, and that is super uncomfortable while you're riding. The reason that typically happens to me is because when I get a helmet, I have to have a Bluetooth communicator so I can listen to music, get navigation, and all that kind of stuff. But with the Skully, everything is built in. When I install a Senna, for instance, on one of my helmets, these little speakers are now where my ears are, and that makes my ears do this. I hate that. But with the Skully, everything's built in, so I actually get that ear pocket without having the speakers there, so I can just slide this helmet on, I can take it off, I don't have to do any untucking origami situation with my ears. Alright, so next up is the electronics. I mean, this thing is a smart helmet, and what makes a helmet smart? Electronics. So the main features of the helmet are the rear view camera and the heads up display. The camera quality shown in the HUD isn't anything amazing detail wise. I doubt you could read a license plate or anything like that, but for seeing your surroundings while riding like cars, it works great. I never had a problem checking to see if cars were coming in another lane before I changed lanes. Instead of having to look around me and do head checks like I typically do, all my eyes have to do is take a quick glance down at the HUD and I can keep focus on what's happening in front of me. This feature is honestly what you need to buy this helmet for. And for you guys that are worried that that rear view camera might not be made for the body position you have depending on the type of bike you have, Skully's already thought about that. Inside of the Skully app, you can change whether you want the camera to be oriented in sport or touring mode, and what that does is angle the view of the camera up or down to accommodate for the different body positions. So that way, somebody that has like a naked bike and they're gonna be more upright body position, the camera will actually angle up more so you can see behind you. And then if you're in a sport bike position where you're way leaned over, the camera actually angles down, and from both of those options, you can see clearly what's coming up behind you. Alright guys, so we just briefly talked about the HUD and how you can see the rear view camera in that, but what else can it do? The HUD is also used to display your speed, which I assume is calculated using your phone's GPS, song information, turn-by-turn navigation, and phone call info. I like the idea that the speed is GPS calculated, since many of us know that our speeders are typically off by a certain percentage. It is nice to know how fast you're actually going. I found the turn-by-turn navigation to be really helpful. Multiple times I put in a destination that I knew I had no idea how to get to, and I was really impressed with being able to see the turn coming up. I've used navigation on my phone through a Senna before, which works okay, but having that visual information show up along with the audio directions makes it a lot easier. So the HUD also shows song data, which is more of a nice thing to have than any sort of necessity, but again, having that visual of what's happening is nice. So for you guys that are worried about the HUD being distracting, I totally understand where you're coming from, but during my time while riding it, I've never really had a distracting problem with the HUD. The image that's displayed in the HUD is actually so opaque, if you looked like up into the clouds or into the sky, you would actually only be able to see a couple things. You actually can see straight through it. It's also adjustable to fit the view of the HUD where you need it. You can rotate the visible section of the HUD side to side as well as forward and back by simply moving it with your hand. For up and down adjustments, you'll need to rotate the dial directly under it near the chin. With all these adjustments, it makes it so you can position the HUD basically anywhere you want in your peripheral vision, so you can have it more in your way, which could be more distracting, or you can lower it all the way down and you can barely see it at all. So after all the time I've been riding in the Skully, I personally like the most where I lower the HUD all the way down and I rotate it all the way back. That way, the only part of the HUD that I can even see in my peripheral vision is this tiny little black line that is basically not even there. That's the personal way I've enjoyed riding with it, and that way it's least distracting for me. Alright, so that's what the helmet can do, that's what the HUD can display, so let's talk about next, voice controls. Now, to be totally honest, when I came into this and Skully was talking about their voice controls, I was like, oh, okay, voice controls on a motorcycle helmet that has wind noise to deal with and a motorcycle engine to deal with, but you're gonna have voice controls working. My phone can't handle voice controls most of the time. So I was a little, I tried to be optimistic coming into it. Anytime I've used voice controls in the past, I've had bad experiences. I've had GoPro stop recording. Sennas have endlessly said, say a command. And don't even get me started with, hey, G-O-O-G-L, hey Google. Stop listening.
Nothing's playing right now.
Nothing's playing right now. That's what I just got. That's my point. Now, for the surprising part, the Skully helmet has been the first tech product that voice commands come in very handy and work really well somehow. You can say, hey Skully, and then ask a few different commands. What I like most about this is the accuracy of the helmet being able to understand what I asked of it. It's pretty sad that a motorcycle helmet voice control, while riding a motorcycle with wind noise and all the other audible distractions, has a better turn-on rate than Siri does on my freaking phone. For right now, the amount of things you're able to ask Skully to do is a bit limited to things like checking your battery, music and volume controls, a few navigation options, and phone answering. Actually, here's a list of all the commands Skully can do as of making this video. So the thing that doesn't really worry me about these issues with the voice commands and not having a lot of them is that it and a couple other things are software issues. Software issues can be fixed with a patch or a download of a thing. Like, you don't have to take the helmet apart, you don't have to do anything. The helmet could literally fix itself. You could wake up one morning and then have a ton new voice commands that Skully put in. So I'm not really worried about software issues. The good news about the software issue part is that Skully as a company has seemed to be really receptive to their community of people that are riding around in their helmets and have openly asked them, hey, if you guys want us to add something, let us know and we'll get working on it. So that communication with your community of people that are buying your product and using it is always gonna make for a better end product for the customer anyway. Alright guys, so now let's talk about batteries. The helmet does have electronics and all electronics need batteries. Powering the helmet is a 3.7 volt lithium ion battery that is recharged using this small port found on the strap of the helmet. The charger is just a micro USB, which is super common. The helmet is also IPX5 water resistant, and the recommended operating temperatures are between 14 degrees Fahrenheit and 113 degrees Fahrenheit, or these numbers in Celsius if you're weird and not in the US. Not that you're weird, just like. So through my testing, I was easily able to get over 8 hours of battery life out of the helmet. So like the other day, I was wanting to test the battery of the helmet, and my expert way of testing the battery was to wear the helmet and listen to music while I did some work on the computer. I sat there at the desk with the helmet on for 4 hours playing music at the max volume. Again, I really think I've broke my ears, but for 4 hours playing music, the battery only went down by 40%, so take that for what you will. Keep in mind this is a tech product, so battery life is dependent on other factors like what you're doing. Do you only have the rear view camera on? Are you listening to music as well? What about the navigation? All these things are going to affect your battery life and make it last longer or shorter. The good news is, with such a common micro USB port to charge the helmet, you could just get a little battery bank and put it in your jacket pocket and charge the helmet while you're riding if you some reason need the helmet to last longer than 8 hours. I guess somebody could be doing a trip. By the way, Skully legally can't tell you that you can do that because there's like a choking hazard. But I did it and it worked fine. So like there's that. But legally, I'm not telling you to put a cable on the helmet and charge it. Is that a weird wink? Hopefully not. One of the things about this helmet that gives it a very iconic look is that fin on the back, but that also brings up the question, wind buffeting. Is there an issue with it at all? Honestly, after testing this out, I never felt any weird wind buffeting issues. The helmet also doesn't seem to weigh weird at all. I'm not saying the helmet feels as light as my Shoei X14, but compared to something like my Icon variant that has that front scoop, this helmet has no wind issues. I totally get looking at this helmet, you would expect with all the tech stuff in the back that the helmet might be weighted heavily in the back, but I've ridden around with this helmet, I've looked around all of my motorcycle, and I've never really felt any weight differences, and I feel like the helmet is balanced really well. So I mentioned earlier this helmet has built-in speakers, so let's talk about audio. That's one thing that's really nice about this helmet is that everything is built in and seamless. You don't have to worry about installing extra speakers that can sometimes press against your ears and make your helmet less comfortable while riding. I found the speakers to be on par with other Bluetooth units I've used in other helmets. I would like to see the volume of the speakers be able to turn up a little more, but probably because I've ruined my hearing in the past, but I'll take the lower volume for a level of comfort that I get with this helmet. During the times I've been riding with the helmet, anytime I was listening to music or a turn-by-turn navigation thing came up, I was always able to hear it very clearly regardless of how fast I was going. I could always hear that turn left. Alright, so the final thing we're going to talk about is the Skully app, which is the interface you use to change the settings on the helmet and connect with other outside accounts. And honestly, this is the worst part about the helmet, even though it's not technically part of the helmet. The app has a far way to go to catch up to the level of techie feel that the Fenix AR has. You use the app to import your address data, link your Spotify account so that song data can be displayed on the HUD, as well as updating your helmet. And yes, the only way you can see your song data is if you are playing music through Spotify. This doesn't mean you can't stream Bluetooth music to the Skully, it just means that if you want to see the song you're playing in the HUD, it has to be on Spotify. I personally have Spotify Premium, so this isn't really an issue for me, but I could see it being annoying for someone that doesn't. I would love to see Skully update their app with more functionality and an updated look. For controlling the features that the helmet currently has though, it does a fine job. Alright guys, so let's talk about the final thoughts of the Skully Fenix AR1, a helmet that cost $1,899. Well, the thing's expensive. There's really no way of getting around it. If, capital if, you are able to spend $1,899 on a helmet though, is it worth it? Right now, purchasing the Fenix AR, you are paying an early adopter tax. You're paying that money to have a helmet with a ton of great features that give you a very unique riding experience that you are not able to get by anything else on the market. Do you have to have a rear view camera while riding? No, you can use the mirrors like 99% of the rest of us. I will say, the ability to glance down quickly and get all of your surroundings is an amazing tool for safety while riding. That, mixed with the level of fit and finish this helmet has, I think it's totally worth it if you're able to spend that kind of money. I'm sure down the road, Skully will eventually put something out more affordable, but for right now, if you want this fully integrated smart helmet system with a rear view camera and a heads-up display, you're gonna have to fork out the cash, and for those that do, you are in for an amazing riding experience. For the rest of us, we have to resort to using head checks, our mirrors, and installing Sena Bluetooth units. And guys, that's the review of the Skully Fenix AR. If you guys wanted me to touch on something that I didn't touch on, there was a lot of stuff to talk about in this review, make sure to let me know in the comments, and then maybe down the road I can do a secondary video to this review. I can touch on the stuff that I didn't talk to you guys about here in this video. If you guys enjoyed this video or found it helpful, make sure to hit that like button and let me know in the comments what your favorite part of the Skully Fenix AR is. Are you gonna grab one? I'm interested to hear what you guys think down in the comments. If you guys are new to the channel, I'm Chaseontwowheels. I review motorcycle products, motorcycles, and all types of stuff related to the two-wheeled life. And I would love you to join me in the process by subscribing. I'm not good at promoting myself, my apparel brand, or anything. I'm just not good at it. I'm gonna accept that, and I'm just gonna keep being good at filming things. Anyways, guys, I'm out here. You guys go out and ride positive. Hashtag ride apparel. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Later. All right, Outro crew, 2 things. 1, if you were gonna get a Skully, would you get the black, the white one that I have, or would you guys go with that carbon? 2, what do you guys think about this new zip up ride apparel just put out? Actually, it launched today as the day this video is coming out. Also, did you get a zip up? All right, I'm gonna go because I've been, let me, Does that sound terrible? Okay, bye guys. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching to the end. You're the MVP. High five to you. Love you long time.